All right, guys, come on in. I got another story for you from the files of South detectives and the nonsense that I, encounter daily. Um, you know, what is a environment when it's hostile? What is an environment when it's aggressive? What is an environment when it is segregated? It's an environment that I worked in. Now, my whole career wasn't like this because I don't have stories of this with my whole career because I didn't have all of this happen to me on a daily. Um, in my latter years of the career, I encountered these individuals who were a group. Um, Now, here's the story. Here's an incident. It's really not a full out story. I'll have a story at the end. So, one day I'm working, and so this particular incident, I am sitting at the original CompStat computer, which is in the detective bureau, which is in the back, which is divided by three um, which is divided into three. I was in the middle. There was detectives on the left, and there was detectives on the right. And then there was a door that would lead into the inspector's office, and then there was a door that led into the lieutenant's office. Now, the lieutenant sat over here. There were detectives here. There was the printer there. Then my cubicle, and then the detectives that worked on the end. Now, this particular day, I'm in my cubicle, and the lieutenant stands at the hallway, but where my cubicle started, where the dividers were. So I'm working. Obviously, he wants my attention, so he stops at my cubicle, and I look up. And he doesn't say anything like, "Hey, Michelle." This wasn't a friendly conversation because that's not how it started. Matter of fact, it wasn't any kind of a conversation. This was more his statement and more of his like angry attitude at me, as though I was his adolescent, as though I was his child, and he was trying to scold me because he felt like what I was doing wasn't appropriate. Now, mind you, this was so childish, but I'll tell you. So I look up, and he then says to me, "What are you listening to?" And I go, "I don't know, the radio." Now, mind you, I had a radio that was a digital radio. It was on probably two. I mean, you couldn't hear what was actually being said on the radio or played on the radio. It was a very non judgmental radio station. It was for like easy listening. So he says, "You hear anybody else with a radio on?" Now, I know that the people that worked in that domestic schoolroom, they were right, like my desk was here. They were like right around the corner. I know that they would have things on in there. Did I hear anything at that moment? I didn't, nothing. I don't know. I don't know. But he was trying to say, like, you don't hear anybody else with the radio on. So I said, so he goes, "You hear anything in my office?" And I go, "Your office sounds like a library. It's so quiet in there." He goes, "Exactly. Why don't you have earbuds on or something?" And then he just walks away from me. What was that about? Just because. That's what that was about. That was just because. So I would have to deal with stuff like that. I'd have to deal with stuff like this. You know, this little incident. One day, one detective who me and him, we really never seen eye to eye, even when we were on the street as street cops. I don't know. I think we just kind of like, both of us like rubbed each other the wrong way. So we really didn't talk. And his buddy was the significant other to that person in the domestic room. So obviously him and her were buddies, and I don't care. But it was, isolating, being not friendly with that individual who was also friendly with the person that we really didn't rub elbows. It was just something about him and something about me. I didn't really like him and he didn't really like me. But okay, but now we're detectives, and it carried over into our new department. And this was years that we just didn't, I wasn't friendly with him and he wasn't friendly with me. And that was okay. But then when his allegiance was to be more friendlier to her, it was just so childish, but it was intimidating just the same. So anyway, he was ordering Nick's roast beef this one particular morning. And I'll never forget, it's in my brain, because he felt the need to say to one of the other people that was in the inspector's office, he yelled, "Yo, blah, blah, blah," whatever his name was. I know his name, but I'm not gonna say it. He says, "Yo, you wanna smell my roast beef sandwich?" Like, that was funny because he was the one who took the orders to get these roast beef sandwiches, but he didn't say, "Hey, everybody, you want to order? Come, fill out your name on the sheet, and you can get a Nick's roast beef sandwich." He went specifically, like, roll call, like, and I'm just making names up, like, "Yo, Kev, you want a roast beef sandwich? Yo, Tom, you want a roast beef sandwich?" Now, these are people that are in the same office that I'm at, but they are specifically singled out to see if they wanted to order a roast beef sandwich. Now, he didn't ask me. And because we didn't have that interaction together, he felt as though he didn't have to ask me. And okay, but that's the work environment that I worked in every day. So these little incidents that I'm talking about are just incidents of a daily environment that I shouldn't have had to be dealing with every day, because I was working and I was doing what I was supposed to do at work. These people were at work, maybe doing what they had to do. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to them with their work. I seen the work that they did because they would have to turn it in. I would have to be the one to, enter it, because I was the cashier of Staff Detectives. I did the CompStat. So I wasn't like clocking what they did, but I was alert to what they didn't do, and that was not have me included in their group. So of course I wouldn't want to be a part of it. Of course I wouldn't want to eat from, where they're ordering from. I know what cops do to certain things, and I'm not saying all cops do. I know what a certain cop that I used to work with do when he would go pick up the lieutenant's food. Now, whether he really did it or he didn't do it, he would speak about it and he would joke about it. And I wouldn't order food with the enemy, because they smile in your face and they talk behind your back. And this is what they do. And I'm not saying that's what all people do, but this shit does happen. It's true. But anyway, this is what I had to deal with on a daily. And this wasn't something that I had to deal with all my career. I had to deal with this in this certain time of my career. So, was I grateful to no longer work for the police department? I was grateful for my time that I invested. I was grateful that I was getting a pension. I was grateful that I didn't have anything that would have hindered me from getting what I got in the end, which was my pension. I was just grateful to be away from all that. And I held on to all of these incidents in my back pocket because I felt like, first of all, why did I keep all this? And I kept it because I contacted EEOC, and I wanted to know, like, is this something that is normal that I should be, having to deal with every day? You know what they told me? They told me that I had a valid complaint and I could pursue it. I went as far as being interviewed. I went as far as getting a receipt number from them. And I decided that I didn't want to do that. So that's why I've decided to do this. I've decided to do this on a platform that hits millions of people, because what I went through is not something that is made up. It is not something that is, not true. It's all true. I got names, I got dates, I got locations, I got everything. Okay. And I want this to go virtual because I want other people that are going through the same thing that I had to go through. And I want them to see that it is legit. It is something that should not be tolerated. And it is something that they should go forth and make it right. Okay? I am making it right by going on a platform that will hit millions of people, and they will see what I'm talking about, and then they will look at their situations and their circumstances and see that what they are also going through is not right. I say, if you feel that you have been treated wrong and you feel that you have been put through the ringer for no apparent reason at all, other than people not liking who you are, not liking what you stand for, not liking that you just want to, do your job and go home. Like, I liked, for the most part, everyone, okay? I stayed clear of the ones that I wasn't friendly with, and I was hoping that they would stay clear of me, but they didn't. They antagonized, they discriminated, they segregated, they did everything, and they thought it was funny. And you know what? It was funny. It was so funny that I think I want to share it with the world. Okay? And that's what I'm doing. So I'm laughing too. Now, I'm going to tell you about this one story. So this incident and story is about this one detective. And, I'll refer back to her a lot of times because she was the school detective, but then she got a new position because the girl that was the domestic detective was now going to backgrounds. So I'll get into her, and I'll get into another incident that they totally segregated me on, alienated me on, and did not invite me. And, you know, this supervisor that was my lieutenant who sat here, I at one point sat here and they sat there. So we were all 5 to 7 feet away from one another. Okay. And this lieutenant knew that I wasn't invited to this last party of this girl that was now going to backgrounds. But he didn't care. You know why he didn't care? Because it was allowed. He allowed them to alienate. He allowed them to harass. He even allowed them to segregate. Okay. He's the supervisor, right? He's the one who is supposed to unify. He is the one who is supposed to delegate assignments. He is the one who is the leader of the bunch, right? Well, he was not leading. He was actually allowing the nonsense to lead by the people who were not the supervisors. So anyway, this one story, this was about 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, mind you, I work 6 a to 2 p.m. Now, it was about 7 o'clock on a Tuesday back in 2017 when I heard the door of the main entrance into the detective bureau open. So I turned because I was on my way into the female bathroom. I turned, I thought it was the lieutenant. It wasn't him, because I was just going to say good morning. You know, as much as he bitched me out, as much as he made me feel whatever I was doing was not the proper thing to do, I always would say hello. It didn't cost nothing. And, you know, I had to keep peace with the enemy because, you know, he was my enemy because he was allowing this nonsense to go on daily. He was actually part of it, but I had to keep peace because he was a supervisor. So it was like, I felt like I was like Ike and Tina Turner. You know, I felt like I was living in a domestic relationship. And for the most part, I was. But anyway, back to the story. So it's like I said, 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, people are starting to trickle in. I thought it was the lieutenant coming in, but it wasn't. It was the girl from the domestic room. Now, when she walked in, you know, her and I obviously looked back. She saw that I looked back. And I didn't speak to her, and she didn't speak to me. And that's fine. But then she had to smirk, like, you know, because she saw me, whatever. She smirked. I went in the bathroom. I did what I had to do. I went back to my desk. Now, I'm at my desk doing my work. Like I said, it's like 7:30. And who comes over to the entrance of my desk but the lieutenant? Now, mind you, I work 6 to 2. It's already 7:30 in the morning. So now I have to deal with this. Now, when he walked over to my desk, he didn't say, "Good morning, Michelle." He didn't say, "How's your morning going? How are you? Have you had coffee?" He didn't say any of that because he never would say any of that. You know, we didn't have friendly conversations. So he walked over to my desk and he said, "How come all the activity that this detective turned in isn't in the CompStat sheet?" Now, the CompStat sheet runs Monday through Sunday. So this was Tuesday. So I had already did CompStat for week 32. Okay. So he was questioning me. Matter of fact, he wasn't questioning me. He was basically telling me that, you know, the activity that this detective turned in isn't in there. So and then as I'm, you know, getting ready to tell him, he goes, "And I don't want to hear, it's not me. You always say it's not me." So I sit there, I ingest everything that he's saying, and I say, well, I say it's not me because I put every piece of activity that was turned in for week 32 in. So I don't know what you want me to say, but it's not me. So I go and I get the envelope that I keep that week's activity in. So what happens when people turn in their activity? That is stored for like 10 years in the Detective Bureau. And then after so long, we archive it. So I had to go over to the filing cabinet and pull out the numbered folder for that week, and I had to show him. So in that folder was activity by this detective, but it was turned in by the original detective who had did the clearance of that job. So she didn't get credit for it. Why? Because she wasn't the assigned, but because she had that title, domestic, she wanted to be the person who got all of the clearances for the domestics. Well, just because you're the domestic and you think you're supposed to get the clearances when the actual detective is clearing the job that he did the work for, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not giving you that clearance. And I'm going to show why I'm not giving that clearance, because you are not doing anything but stapling a activity sheet on something, and you didn't do the activity. Total fraud. But I'm wrong, right? Okay. So I go to the lieutenant and I pull out the folder and I show him that, this person did not do the activity. So you would think because of his title that would be the end of it. No, he picks up the folder and he walks into her office. Last time I thought he was the lieutenant, because when he comes to me, he is always very lieutenant, right? He walks in her office like he is not lieutenant. So now he's in her office and he's explaining why she didn't get the activity. How do you get the activity when you are not the assigned? So, like I said, this is the CompStat sheet, okay? This is week 32, right? She holds the title domestic. So, she wants to keep the clearance rate down. So during that week, there are 4 jobs that were turned in for domestic. And none of them were arrested by a detective. None of them were arrested by a cop. None of them were cleared. So that week is 0%. Now the following week is 100% clearances. There were 9 jobs. 2 were detective arrests. 4 were arrested by other. 3 were exceptionally cleared. And an exceptionally cleared job is when you EC it, okay? Whether you delegate them to a specific 34 South 11th, or you delegate them to another avenue. So you EC it, so you exceptionally clear. So there were 3 exceptionally clear jobs. And then unfounded jobs, there were 6 of them. So there were 9 jobs that were cleared. So she got 100%. She has the domestic looking like, they have it so under control there. So that's another story. And that is my story. So that is why I am making my channel. It's wrong what they did, but it's great what they did. You know why? Because I have a platform that can put out their nonsense to the whole wide world. And it's better than me filing that EEOC complaint, because my complaint was valid. Even though I didn't follow through with it, my complaint was valid. And that's all I needed to know. I needed to know that what I am ingesting on a daily basis from these lunatics is not right. It wasn't right. And I want you to share it out. I want you to like, I want you to follow me, and I want you to hear the different stories that I have, because I still have a lot. I am only telling you stories from receipts that I have in a certain place. I haven't gone into my box yet. I have boxes of shit. You just stay and listen. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're getting something out of this. And I hope you know who I'm talking about, because some of these people are still on the job. And they really are not nice people.